afternoon and welcome back everyone to Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching the closing bell. I'm Santosh Nair.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, benchmark indices seem all set to end deep in the red today. A sudden wave of selling which started in the morning has only further intensified towards the close of trading sessions, and it will have to see whether the Nifty has managed to hold about the 18,000 mark. Well, among the worst performing sectors today we had banks, metals and realty shares, and the India volatility index has risen by close to about 6.5%. An increase in the volatility index basically means that traders are expecting the market to be volatile in the days ahead. The volatility index is also known as the fear index. So, in a way an increase in VIX means that traders expect probably the downtrend to continue for some more time. And lastly, a quick check on FNOQs. We are seeing build up of huge short positions in Vedanta, Astral, Indus Towers, Gujarat Gas and Persistent Systems. What do you, Yatin?
सेंटो, आपके पीछे जो बेयर बना है और आपकी शर्ट का कलर सेम है.
Well, I think I knew probably what was coming today.
So yesterday you were bullish, today you are bearish.
Oh well, that's what the market does to you.
So the color of the screen is deep red and that's what Santo is wearing right now. मार्केट के सेटअप की बात करें तो 18,000 निफ्टी लेवल के आसपास हम लोग नॉक कर रहे हैं और जैसे संतोष बता रहे थे कि शॉर्ट बिल्डअप हो रहा है, सेक्टोरली काफ़ी सारा नुकसान हो चुका है. और अगर आप एनएससी का एडवांस डिक्लाइन रेशियो देखें जो काफ़ी हद तक आपको मार्केट की ब्रेथ और लेंथ समझाता है, वहाँ भी आपको दिखेगा कि 1:3 का रेशियो चल रहा है, यानी एक बढ़ने वाले शेयर के सामने 3 घटने वाले शेयर. और संतोष, मिड कैप, स्मॉल कैप, स्पेशली बैंक्स, हियर वी हैव सीन सम प्रॉफिट टेकिंग. तो क्लियरली बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर है. येस्टरडे मेटल्स में जो आपको डिप दिखाई दिया वो एक्सटेंड हुआ. JSW स्टील से लेके हिंडाल्को, वेदांता, इन सभी स्टॉक्स में आपने 2 से 3% का मिनिमम कट देखा. तो क्लियरली बैंक्स एंड मेटल्स, ये जो मार्केट के पिलर्स से शायद रैली के जो पिछले हफ्ते तक मूव हो रहे थे, यहाँ एक विराम लगा है, यहाँ एक ब्रेक लगा है, यहाँ एक स्पीड ब्रेकर जो है बाजार को हिट हुआ है, जिसके कारण आपको ये जो फियर इंडेक्स है वो भी बढ़ता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है.
Well, Yatin, it's pretty interesting the way metal stocks have suddenly changed course.
Correct.
On Monday, just about everyone was rushing to buy them. You saw a huge build-up of long positions in almost anything to do with the commodity space. And in a matter of 2 days, the market has, these stocks have more than retraced whatever gains they had made on Monday. So what probably explained this, sudden turnaround, because the broad theme was China reopening and probably valuations being decent.
I think China is sitting on a couple of large inventories. Winter hai and generally there is a pollution curve which China implements. Despite that, जो hope trade था that China is opening up and probably inventory is getting built, that did not happen. इनफैक्ट अगर हम मेटल्स की बात करें तो चाइना में ओपनिंग ट्रेड में आज एल्यूमिनियम, कॉपर, स्टील, सभी के सभी कमोडिटी के दाम, चाहे वो शेंगन ट्रेड हो चाहे वो शंघाई ट्रेड हो, आपको डिक्लाइन होता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है. तो कहीं ना कहीं ये वीकनेस है और ग्लोबल क्यूज़ को देखते हुए, जो ग्लोबल सेटअप है उसको देखते हुए बाजार ने आज एक विराम लिया है और एक काफ़ी डिसेंट करेक्शन हुआ है. लगभग डेज लो पे ही हम बंद हुए हैं, चाहे वो मेटल इंडेक्स हो, बैंकिंग शेयर्स हो, चाहे वो इंडेक्स पर से हो. और अगले हफ्ते तो सेंटो अर्निंग्स भी आने वाली हैं आईटी की. सो वी हैव TCS, इन्फोसिस, विप्रो, HCL टेक्नोलॉजीज, FOMC मिनट्स विल बी देयर. तो बहुत सारे इवेंट्स लाइंड अप है. आई थिंक मार्केट इज जस्ट डाइजेस्टिंग the fact that we should take a break, probably look at earnings, probably look at events, probably look at how China is opening, how is COVID shaping up in Thailand, in Japan, in Middle East, because I think Indian airports are also on a big alert. Random samplings have started. So I think a lot of governments have now taken Chinese passengers on a serious note, and a lot of testing is happening. So that fear is there at the global level.
Well, also Yatin, technically now the Nifty is struggling around 18,000 mark. That's also something that most traders will be closely watching for. It has failed to cross the 50-day moving average after quite a few attempts. So technically, what's the market looking like?
So the technical panel on CNBC Awaz had a lot of sell recommendations. In fact, a lot of things have changed over the last few weeks in terms of view, in terms of positioning. Now, people are talking about 18,500, 18,800 being the next resistance level. So from here, for markets to go up to 3 percentage points will be a difficult task. And also, as I was mentioning, next week बहुत सारे earnings हैं, बहुत सारे results हैं, स्पेशली आईटी कंपनीज के, तो वो कैसे शेप अप होंगे उस पर डिपेंड होगा. वॉल्यूम्स काफ़ी कम है, ऐसा नहीं है कि वॉल्यूम्स बहुत ज़्यादा है और ज़्यादा वॉल्यूम से बाजार गिरा है. वॉल्यूम्स मॉडरेट है, एफआई फ्लोज भी मॉडरेट है. इनफैक्ट येस्टरडे 600 करोड़ की सेलिंग का फिगर आया था, उसके सामने 200-300 करोड़ की केवल डोमेस्टिक म्यूचुअल फंड बाइंग थी. तो डोमेस्टिक म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर आल्सो मिसिंग इन एक्शन. Probably they are sitting on cash and waiting for a good level to enter.
Well, that volume thing is a two-sided argument, Yatin. When you say markets have fallen on low volumes,
Yeah.
the bulls will always say that, look, people are not really selling much.
Yeah,
It's just fallen because of that. But the bears also have a counter argument. They say that nobody is really buying in this market despite the low prices. So it can work both ways. Well, and with that, we move on to the stocks that caught our attention this afternoon, beginning with Avenue Supermart. The stock was among one of the prominent losers today, falling close to about 3%. Now, the company had come out with its third quarter commentary, and most brokerages have termed it as being slightly underwhelming. Macquarie has cut its earnings estimates for Avenue Supermarts for FY23 and FY24 by 5%, and the big concern is that the store addition has been slower than what the brokerage was expecting. Of course, it has mentioned quite a few other positives as well, mainly that its positioning in terms of pricing is quite good, and also the competitive intensity at this point is not as severe as it was till some months back. Morgan Stanley has an overweight rating on the stock, but at the same time it has also said that the commentary has been below expected. In fact, the growth during third quarter is now below pre-COVID. So this stock under pressure, and from the look of it, Yatin, valuations never have been in favor of Avenue Supermart. The moment the numbers fail to meet market expectations, people start talking about the valuation. So probably I think that is something that could come into play once again.
But the only question when I see Avenue Supermarts on the screen, the only question that comes, when will this stock come in the FNO?
Well,
ये एक सवाल है, क्योंकि जैसे ही FNO में आ जाएगा वैसे ही निफ्टी 50 के इंक्लूजन के लिए एलिजिबल हो जाता है स्टॉक. So there are two stocks which if they come in the future and option segment will be the part of Nifty. One is Avenue Supermarts and the other one is Adani Green. But ये FNO में आता ही नहीं.
Well, that's the interesting part. In fact, this despite it ticking almost every box.
Yeah.
Till some time back, at least even now, the trend is that most companies would like their stock to be part of the FNO, but this seems to be one case. Despite the company ticking every box that would make it eligible for the NSE's FNO list, it has still managed to stay out of that.
Absolutely. और जो मैं स्टॉक पे फोकस कर रहा हूँ सैंटो, वो है JSW Steel. In the opening remarks, we spoke about metals और कैसे metals की पिटाई हुई है. Metals have lost their shine. If you look at JSW Steel, the stock was down almost over 3.5%. The problem is, that the domestic demand scenario is still not improving. If you look at steel prices and the steel spreads, obviously the only silver lining is that commodity costs have come down, coal costs have come down, energy costs have come down. But really the demand side is missing, the volume game is missing, and more importantly, the kind of spreads steel companies were enjoying earlier, that is not really helping the pace. Plus your interest costs are moving up, so the companies, especially the likes of JSW Steel, which are slightly leveraged, the interest cost also is moving higher. So let's see how really this stock shapes up, because a lot of brokerages have recently cut the target prices, cut the earnings estimates. So it is very important that how really does the demand shape up from here, because it's not a function of price anymore, not a function of volume anymore, but the center of attention of investors right now is how really does the demand come back for the steel sector in India.
Well, on JSW Steel, Yatin, just last week there was a lot of positive commentary. Analysts who had been to one of its latest plants, which was commissioned, that said quite a few good things, but that doesn't really seem to be translating into demand on the ground at this point.
Yeah, because the logic is that if you have new capacities and the utilization is not done, the fixed costs remain high. और जैसे fixed cost ज़्यादा होता है, वैसे आपको मार्जिन्स में प्रेशर बनता हुआ दिखाई देता है. और कोई भी स्टील प्लांट आप जब नया खोलते हो तो उसके प्रोडक्शन को स्टेबल होने में टाइम लगता है, उसको नॉर्मल सी और स्केल पे आने को टाइम लगता है. तो शायद बाजार अभी एक कॉशियस अप्रोच रख रहा है स्टील स्टॉक्स पे, और द वे स्टॉक्स आर फॉलिंग, I think a lot of institutional activity on the sell side.
Well, and the last stock on my watch list is Mahindra and Mahindra Financial Services. Now, interesting stock. This has been an underperformer for a very long time, but over the last 6 to 8 months, the stock has managed to come up pretty well. A lot of brokerages too have turned positive on the stock. Now, the company's management was on CNBC TV 18 this morning. So, some of the things that the management has flagged is that most importantly, rural sentiment appears to be improving, and also typically the second and the third and the fourth quarters are always good in terms of rural spending. And lastly, the company will not, the NBFC will not have to make additional provisions under the RBI's latest guidelines for income recognition and asset classification and provisioning. So, these could be some of the factors at play. The stock managed to hold ground today, and in fact, it's quoting now close to it's among the few NBFC stocks which is closer to its 52-week low, 52-week high at this point. I beg your pardon.
But one problem, Santosh, I find in the NBFC stocks, especially M&M Finance, के cost of funds जो है इनका अभी थोड़ा नॉर्मल है, लेकिन जैसे इंटरेस्ट रेट्स बढ़ेंगी, जैसे कॉस्ट ऑफ डिपॉजिट बढ़ेगा, इनके मार्जिन्स में प्रेशर आ सकता है. तो डिसबर्समेंट्स अच्छी हैं, रूरल ग्रोथ अच्छा है, ये तो सबको पता है, लेकिन जो एक चीज़ शायद अगले 2 क्वार्टर में देखना होगा वो होगा नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन्स, बिकॉज जो कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स बढ़ रहे हैं और बैंक से ज़्यादा तेज़ी से जो कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स बढ़ते हैं वो एनबीएफसीज़ के बढ़ते हैं. तो जैसे कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड बढ़ेगा वैसे आपकी लागत बढ़ेगी, और शायद वो जो नेट इंटरेस्ट मार्जिन अभी कंपनी एंजॉय कर रही है शायद वो एक हिस्टोरिकल हाई बन जाए, और शायद 2 क्वार्टर में आपको नॉर्मलाइजेशन भी दिखाई दे. एटलीस्ट ब्रोकरेजेस का तो यही मानना है.
वेल, फेयर पॉइंट दैट यातिन. योर लास्ट स्टॉक?
सो एक्सिस बैंक ये आखिरी स्टॉक है. ऑब्वियसली फाइनेंशियल्स की अगर हम बात करें तो जैसे ही सैंटो बता रहे थे कि डिसबर्समेंट ग्रोथ काफ़ी अच्छा है, एडवांस ग्रोथ काफ़ी अच्छा है. ऑब्वियसली ये एक सेक्टर ऐसा है जिसके रिजल्ट्स अगले 2 क्वार्टर के लिए बेहतरीन आएंगे. इनफैक्ट सीएलएससी की प्रेफर्ड पिक है एक्सिस बैंक. यहाँ इन्होंने 4 डिजिट का टारगेट रखा है, स्टॉक रिकॉर्ड हाई पे है, और शायद बैंकिंग में जो आउट परफॉर्मेंस हमने देखा है स्पेशली एक्सिस बैंक में लार्ज कैप्स में, जब एचडीएफसी बैंक, कोटक बैंक और शायद आपको दूसरी बैंक्स साइडवेज होती हुई दिखाई देंगी, आईसीआईसीआई बैंक जैसी बैंक्स, एक्सिस बैंक बहुत बेहतरीन तरीके से आउट परफॉर्म कर रहा है. इन्होंने रिसेंटली एक सिटी का क्रेडिट कार्ड पोर्टफोलियो खरीदा है जहाँ से अच्छी ग्रोथ आ सकती है. इनका सिक्योरिटी मार्केट्स बिजनेस, जो कैपिटल मार्केट बिजनेस है, वो अच्छा कर रहा है. इनका जो इंश्योरेंस टाइप है मैक्स के साथ वो अच्छा कर रहा है. और शायद अगर आप कॉर्पोरेट ग्रोथ की बात करें, लोन बुक की बात करें, तो वहाँ भी एडवांटेज होगा. रिटेल में तो है ही, लेकिन कॉर्पोरेट साइड में भी एक्सिस की स्ट्रेंथ है इन टर्म्स ऑफ लेंडिंग. तो शायद ये फेवर आपको आगे जाते हुए दिखाई दे, और थोड़ा एक अपॉर्चुनिटी भी बनेगा. अगर ये स्टॉक ज़्यादा करेक्ट हो जाता है तो शायद बाय ऑन डिप्स की सलाह जो है ब्रोकरेजेस और एक्सपर्ट्स दे रहे हैं एक्सिस बैंक.
Well, interesting stock there, Axis. It's been one of the late entrants to the party in the banking sector, which was initially dominated largely by ICICI Bank and IndusInd Bank. But now, of late, I think
the catch-up is happening.
Catch-up is happening, and there is. It seems to be a mix of both fundamental as well as the technical factors which are in play at this point. So it would be hard to make an argument against this one, against this stock at this point, Yatin. Well, that's all that we have in this episode of Closing Bell. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back with you again at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. In the meantime, for all views, news and analysis, stay logged on to moneycontrol.com.
And watch out for what color shirt does Santosh wear tomorrow.
That cut a little abruptly. I think you can.